Yo, what's up, guys? You know, when you exercise or do any form of training, usually what I hope at least someone has told you is that it's very important to engage your core in the exercises, especially when you're doing bodyweight stuff, especially when you're doing heavy weights like squats, deadlift, bench press. It's very important that you engage your core. This is supposed to be your core, okay? What I noticed, because I started to think to myself, where else in life could this core thing apply? Because if you really look at it, without engaging the core, the exercise becomes so much harder. You kind of cannot keep your body stable. Sometimes you actually might injure yourself if you don't brace your core correctly. So there's a lot of potential problems that can happen if you don't understand or don't use your core in these exercises. Especially the heavier they get, the more dangerous it can become. So I thought to myself, where else can this apply? And then I thought to myself, and I think to myself a lot in case you can't tell, this is probably the thing where if you have any type of change that you want to make in your life, or if you're doing anything in your life, if you want to make progress towards a goal, so let's say you're at A, you're trying to get to B, and you're trying to make progress towards this goal, there's one thing which you consistently must kind of engage in order to get there. The same with the core, you need to engage your core throughout the entire exercise. The same with this is your awareness, and more specifically, how aware you are of two things. The first thing is of yourself, and then specifically I mean your thoughts, and of your environment. So if you are aware of these two things, and by the way, this mouse doesn't always draw properly. If you are aware of these two things, your thoughts and what's happening around you, what you're doing at all times, then this is pretty much the same as engaging your core in an exercise. This is going to give you that strength you need to really transform stuff. Because oftentimes, whenever something happens, you're not even aware of that it happened. You have a thought, but that thought, you were not aware of it, so it happened so fast. And that thought turned into an action before you even noticed that the thought came up. And you weren't able to do anything. You're basically not in control at that point. The same with your environment. Have you ever been so consumed by something, whether it's something with your thoughts, for some reason the drawing tools have disappeared, oh, they reappeared, whether it's something to do with your thoughts that you got lost in, whether it's something to do with like a screen that you got lost in, like a video game, a movie, and you completely forget about your environment, and then something happens in your environment, and you're like, oh, I need to wake up. That's kind of the same thing. If you're not aware, you tend to fall asleep in these types of situations and do things that you did not plan on doing. So let's say there's like a donut that lies on top of like a table. Really strange example, but if you're not aware and you don't have much willpower, then the chances of you grabbing this donut, especially if it's very visible, if it's very easy for you to grab, is much higher than if you're actually aware of what your thoughts are and what your environment is. So if you're aware that the donut is there, and if you're aware that you're thinking about the donut, you can say, no, let's not do this because I value my health. But if you don't pay attention to your thoughts in this process, it might happen that the thought is so quick that you don't even notice that you ate the donut. And before you know it, you feel terrible about yourself, and this behavior keeps for the rest of the day, and you've just ruined your day because of one thing which you weren't aware of. And you can't blame yourself. I mean, it was so fast, it was out of your control. But it was so fast that it can be within your control if you are aware of yourself. So I hope that makes sense. If you are curious to see why I can help you with some of this more mindset stuff, because I'm really passionate about teaching this in case you can't tell, there's a link in the description where you can book a 15-minute free session with me, where you can bring one problem, and during the call I will make sure to give you clarity on what you do in order to solve that problem. So the link is in the description if you want to check that out. Otherwise, hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next